Let's see, is this thing recording? Testing, testing, 1, 2. Yes, it is recording. Okay, just making sure. Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Larry the Batman fan. I hope you guys are doing well today. So in today's video, we're just going to do a music discussion, talking about Aerosmith. I did say that there was going to be a video talking about Aerosmith. So what's my opinions on Aerosmith? Are they a bad band or are they a good band? Well, I'm here to tell you that they're actually a good band. I like Aerosmith. I think Aerosmith is a very talented band, especially for back in the 70s and 80s. I think Aerosmith is better than a lot of bands back in the 70s and 80s. I was not a fan of the Rolling Stones. I was never a fan of Elvis or the Beatles, really. I understand the impact of Elvis, though. You got to respect the man, Elvis, because he was one of the first guys that was like country, rock, and pop, and blues. He was different genres rolled into one, but he's considered the king of rock. In my personal opinion, that's bullshit. He's not the king of rock. Elvis is a very talented, though, musician, and he had great impact on the music industry, especially for rock. So, technically, you gotta give Elvis respect anyways. There were other bands at the time that I just didn't care for. I didn't care for the Eagles or the Yardbirds. I wasn't interested in those. Honestly, when I was younger, the first time I heard bands, I was like, oh, I actually like it, is AC/DC and Aerosmith and Metallica. Those were the three that I actually thought were really good. But diving deeper into it, there were a few other bands back then that were actually pretty good too, like Guns N' Roses, Twisted Sister, Striper, and the Scorpions, and Rat. Those are some bands back in the day that were actually pretty good in my opinion. I know there was also Kiss and Megadeth. Megadeth is pretty good. Kiss, I mean, I'm not really a fan of Kiss, to be honest with y'all. They had one or two good songs, Rock and Roll All Night, one other song by them. But I just wasn't a big fan of them. Plus, they endorse abuse towards women, and I just don't agree with that. And I know Aerosmith did a little bit of that too, but not as bad as Kiss. Anyways, we're not talking about those bands. We're just talking about specifically Aerosmith. I just had to go in a little bit of detail about other bands and stuff, in my opinions. You know, it's my channel. I can do whatever I want. But Aerosmith is a good band. I like Steven Tyler's band. I had Joe Perry in there and some other guys from the band. There's 5 or 6 of them in total. And I had just about all of their CDs. I had only like 1 or 2 that I didn't buy. But they basically had the same songs on each album, which was kind of lame. So, honestly, you could buy just 1 or 2 CDs and you'd be satisfied with that, because there's no need to get overly obsessed over them and buy every single album, because a lot of the tracks are the same. There's a little South of Sanity. They had Toys in the Attic. Toys in the Attic. They had another album called Just Push Play, Get a Grip, Gems. Their first album was just called Aerosmith. They had another album, Honkin' on Bobo. Those are some of the CDs that I used to have of theirs. I never had their first album, though, which was just called Aerosmith. Trying to think of what else. They had a few other albums, too. But the majority of their work is actually pretty good for a classic rock band. I am impressed with Aerosmith. I guess at the time they were considered alternative rock, but that was like back in the 70s. So now they're considered classic rock because they don't really perform that much anymore. And they don't make new material or new songs that I'm aware of. So I would just say that they're a classic rock band. But their highlighted songs has to definitely be Love in the Elevator, Dream On, Seasons of Wither, Just Push Play, um, Don't Want to Close My Eyes, that song. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, that's actually the name of the song, sorry. Um, there's a few other songs by them. I guess Toys in the Attic was kind of a hidden gem for a song by Aerosmith, but is that really a top 10 best song by them? I don't know. Give me a second. See, I'm a real Batman fanatic because I'm wearing the pajamas and I'm wearing the shirt, the long sleeve shirt. So that's how you know I am Larry the Batman fan. I'm a fanatic of Batman. But yeah, there was a song called "Eat the Rich" by Aerosmith. I think that's popular. That was even featured in that crappy shooting game called Revolution X for Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Sega Saturn. I had the Sega Saturn version of the game. Not a very good game, but they were in that game, and I'm sure they had some other merch that they sold, like wristbands and watches, and they had their own T-shirts. They might have even had their own shoes, for crying out loud. They had a lot of stuff, a lot of memorabilia, a lot of shit that they would sell. They had it. But I like Aerosmith. I think Aerosmith's pretty good. I think they have a lot of good songs. It's definitely worth picking it up. Oh yeah, almost forgot to mention they had a greatest hits album. Greatest hits album gives you 10 tracks on that album, but you get some of the best songs off the album from their previous work. Greatest hits album's pretty good. I mean, it has Dream On there, so Dream On is definitely their best song. I mean, even my brother, who's not really a fan of rock music or metal, loves that song Dream On. He says that song kicks ass, and I agree with him. By Aerosmith, Dream On is their best song. I'm trying to think of what else they had. They had a song called Little South of Sanity, I believe. That's the name of the song. Oh, they had a song called Same Old Song and Dance. That song, too. That's kind of catchy. I don't know if that would be in my top 10 best Aerosmith songs, though. Big Ones, that was another one of their albums, too. I remember Big Ones. I had that album as well. I don't have that album currently. And they also had one called Pandora's Box. That's like the best one to get because you get 3 discs in a thick case, and you get pretty much all their songs, most of their songs on that Pandora's Box Aerosmith thing. In fact, that's probably the album you want to get because you get, out of all those songs, you probably get about 40 songs on 3 discs. It's worth the money. It's not expensive. It's probably about $10-15 for a CD for that whole collection. It's a good deal. I should probably get at least one Aerosmith CD back in my collection because I don't currently have any that I remember. I forget what I did with those CDs. I might have thrown them away. I got rid of a lot of my secular music at a certain point in my life. I just was feeling like it wasn't doing anything good for me, so I stopped listening to it for a long time. Now I listen to it a little bit, but not if it's filled with cussing and disrespect towards God or women. I don't listen to it. But if it doesn't do that, then I still listen to it. But it really depends on what the secular music is. But yeah, I like Aerosmith. Those are some good songs. Steven Tyler seems like a decent man these days. I'd have to read more about him, his biography and everything, but I know he definitely put them on the map with his singing voice, and the impact that they had on rock music really started to shift from that shitty sounding rock from the 60s, which I wasn't really a big fan of, like Elvis and the Beatles and Buddy Holly. I just wasn't a fan of the sound. It wasn't until like, somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s when we started getting really good rock music. Just ignore that rock music from the late 50s and 60s. It's not very good. But, you dig deep and you'll find good bands. And Aerosmith is definitely a good band, a band that you should definitely give a listen to, whether it's here on YouTube or Spotify, or you're just downloading it to your iPod or your iPhone or your iPad, whatever device you use, or if you're just buying a physical CD, because buying physical is better in a lot of ways than digital, because they can't take that away from you, and you have the music forever. So yeah, Aerosmith's a good band. I definitely recommend them. I like a lot of their songs. They are a good rock band from that time era, and I'm pretty sure that everybody knows Aerosmith is. You'd have to be living under a rock not to know who Aerosmith is. I mean, even my dad grew up with Aerosmith. I mean, my dad was born in the 60s, so like in the mid 70s, he was already out of school, I think, and he just had started listening to Aerosmith, and he was like, wow, these guys are really good, because my dad was a big Aerosmith, like a big rock fan. He also listened to country and he listened to rap too, but he liked rock music the best out of the three genres, and I'm pretty sure he was a big fan of Aerosmith too. So even my dad likes Aerosmith. So Aerosmiths are a bunch of legends. They will go down in history as one of the greatest bands of all time. Even when they're all dead and gone, Steven Tyler especially and Joe Perry, those two from the band, will definitely be remembered as classic rock legends. So that's my thoughts on Aerosmith. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and don't miss an upload, because I do all sorts of gaming content here. Subscribe, people, subscribe. Subscribe to Larry the Batman Fan for more gaming content, music, movies, reviews, gameplay videos, and other religious videos, and other videos in general. Thank you for watching, and God bless you all, and take care. Peace.